Hey everyone, it's your boy Matt here, coming to you from Canberra, Australian Capital Territory. This video is intended as a description of why Michael will never be allowed back onto the TACO project, uh, and clarifying some things, some expectations for how I think we should treat people who are public figures. There is a line that needs to be put in the ground. It needs to be drawn on the sand. You cross that line, you need to understand that relationships will never be the same. And Michael has been a perpetrator of domestic abuse. When it's very easy to start throwing accusations and allegations at people to both limit their reputation, negatively affect their reputation. I think that's a horrible thing to do, but also limit free speech. It When I make this allegation against Michael, it's not taken lightly. He tried to control, dominate, and own me. He violated a whole list of different ethical principles that people in my profession, people who are trained in behavior analysis, people who are trained in social work or psychology, realize you don't do. He tried to get a community of people to dominate my life. I dealt with cyber attacks. I dealt with being pushed into very strange jobs, which I would never want to do. And I found myself being a character in this person's world and nothing else. There's a principle in the Australian Psychology Society's Code of Ethics. I'm not a big fan of the APS, but I do like their Code of Ethics. There's this principle called dignity for people and peoples. This is the idea that a person has their own rights, they have their own culture, they have their own beliefs and way that they wish to live. And that is a fundamental intrinsic human right to that person. When we start violating from that, we end up in some very dark places. We end up in Michael's world, where he's trying to control the movement, trying to control the behavior, trying to control the thinking of a person who he's had a close friendship with, and who, to an extent, regulates his own emotions. Now, that is a behavior which we need to call domestic abuse or domestic violence. It's when someone has engaged in that conduct, as he had for a prolonged period of time, there's many instances where I asked him to cease and desist his behavior. The last communication I have to Michael is that I want no communication through you unless it's through your lawyer, and to get contact details for his lawyer, so I'd be able to tell him to fuck off. Right? There are lines which he crossed, which, even if you are a public figure, you should not have to deal with. I would not want Anthony Albanese or Julia Gillard to have to deal with the abuses that I've had from Michael. It is domestic violence. And unfortunately, he is a perpetrator, and I need his abuse to stop. And that's why I have a banned list for the TACO project. I've requested that he cease and desist all contact with me over social media. And he doesn't. He can't. It's a very unfortunate situation. There isn't really a legal mechanism I can pull in this situation. We've got things similar to restraining orders, except those only function in Canberra, except those only function for physical presence. You can't stop a person from creating fake accounts and harassing you online. And really, at this point, it's probably appropriate for him to be monitored, and for his abuse to be able to be more thoroughly documented in a digital format. Because it has crossed some quite significant boundaries. It is not free speech. It's a domestic abuse. It's a bad situation. and it's the kind of situation where a policing intervention is appropriate. Have a lovely day, everyone.